So, in similar vein here, um, with change and representation and those power dynamics, what positive change do you see in this kind of currently bleak human rights reality we're witnessing and living through today?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think that one positive change that I see that I often share with people in the West is that the response to losing their jobs, losing their housing, losing their food, losing their medicine, losing their access to so many services in these marginalized communities has been generosity, has been sharing what they have and beginning to build infrastructure from nothing that serves their communities. And that's an encouraging sign in terms of just humanity in general for me. And I think what we see on the ground is that just from a strictly economic standpoint, investing $250 to feed 300 children with a group of LGBTQI folks creates tolerance, creates community, creates a coming together of organizations, which then tackle other problems like education and safety for most children and insulation from human trafficking and health interventions and a host of other things. So I think on the community level, what we see is there is an enormous resource of talent that is getting deployed in this crisis, and that unlike in the West, where we kind of have an assault paralysis, where everyone I talk to in the West is like, "Oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen next. It's such a bleak world out there. I can't come out from the bedroom. I'm overwhelmed. I can't even turn on the news." That's not the reality of people living in marginalized communities. They're very much in action. I mean, we scaled our acts of kindness, where we go into communities and feed people, from 18 to 150, and we'll go up to 180 next year. And we've scaled our emergency interventions times 10. So I think that, and that's all our whole staff is all community members that are, living on very meager wages, but finding ways to keep people alive and keep people safe and keep people with a minimum level of food. So I think the positive, not only in what we're seeing across Africa and the communities we serve, but the positives you see even when there's a fire in Northern California or a flood in Texas, is that humans are inherently generous and inherently giving and do recognize their connection when the rubber hits the road to each other. And so I think that what we can know is that we are responding to a fear and scarcity consciousness, and elements of society that are pressing the levers of othering and targeting of communities to separate us. But it's not far to come back to recognizing our common humanity, and it's not far to contacting that deep generosity that is really happening all over the world. I mean, the unique position of being in touch with great work going on all over the planet. And there is a lot of amazing work on the grassroots level happening all the time. And I think everyone watching knows that as well. Like, we see this magnification of cruelty and just indifference and targeting of communities and brutality. But our experience is warm, friendly, loving people that we're encountering on a daily basis, doing generous acts of kindness and taking care of each other in their lives. And I think we need to be grounded in locating our experience in our own lives and not the media, and take action from that. Rather than being paralyzed by what we see on television, we can take action in alignment with our own hearts and in alignment with what our neighbors are doing.
Yeah, it's really easy to get caught up in the big headlines, and a lot of the times it's the negative headlines that sell. So you just see
Yeah.
that kind of cycle over and over again. Meanwhile, like you said, you're connected, you're really in it, and you see kind of the difference in what's going on the ground versus, some of these big newspaper selling headlines kind of thing. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, no, and I think that, you know, the notion that people are inherently good, there's a lot of evidence for that.
mm-hmm.
And the more that we find that goodness and generosity in us and don't move into the consciousness that's being sold on the big headlines you mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
the greater chance we have as a species to evolve.
Yeah.